There is empirical data, the limits of which are determined by our organs of knowledge collection. At the next level, there is information, and when I try to classify information, in that act of classification, I have brought in my own culture, my own knowledge, my own thinking, and therefore the idea that information is separate from man doesn't exist. For example, there is a study done on medical records, which it was actually an anthropological study, where they actually found that the medical records which are collected are deeply determined by the cultural dimension of the people who are collecting those medical records. The cultural and their own perceptions of what is important, what is not important. And if you take it one step further, if you take, for example, Ayurveda, the data it collects as relevant are very different from the data that homeopathy collects, which is symptomatic data. Which is very different from the data that actually allopathy collects, because it's actually looking at symptomatic data of a different kind. These are looking for clusters of symptoms or patterns, while allopathic data is looking for completely different things. So there are huge questions of what is data and how it has to, what is information, how it has to be classified based on where and how you come from and what training you come from. Then comes the next level. So there is data, there is information. Then there is interpretation. Interpretation is where I actually need to take this information and build meaning into it. This is what people call knowledge otherwise. This interpretation that you are talking about is determined by the models that you have in your head. Because you need to have different models for interpreting data or for determining information also. So a doctor is there, for example, he has got certain models of thinking in his head, which is based on, say, that jaundice actually operates like this is the prognosis, this is the way in which it stabilizes, this is the way it does. So using that model, he is then able to interpret that information and give it meaning. Correct? So in fact you find that interpretation is not possible without an existing body of models, and now this is where the world is. These are called analytic models, but they are really models. And these are domain models usually, but not necessarily equal. They may also be models of thinking. Like if you take the West, for example, you will find in different countries have different models about how to interpret simple thing of two people. There is a man and a woman talking on the road. In Arabia, it will be interpreted in one particular way. There are certain models in which it is operating. In the West, it is, and maybe in Europe, it will get interpreted in one way. In some places, not even data. It's not even data because not even out of the ordinary. It is just is. So it does not even deserve filtering. It is not even recorded sometimes in the mind. So that's a cultural thing. But if you can take models, you take, for example, typically when the management people do, when they are trying to analyze anything, they are deeply shaped by a body of models given to them. And it is that body of analytic models with which they look at the world. That's for example, if you look at it intuitively, they will look at marketing as 4 P's. And what is product, what is price, place, promotion, they will look at, when they look at strategy, they will understand through that BCG matrix. So they have got a set of such models. There are about, maybe the whole of management will have NPV, IRR, cash flows. These are all models. In fact, if you can take the whole of the management domain, there might be about 100 models, 120 models, that's it. 115 to 120 major models constitute the whole of model management as it stands. That is the set of models with which most management experts manage the world that they live in terms of interpretation. Most domains don't operate at more than 200 to 300 models. Full scale domains like civil engineering or mechanical engineering will have 200, 300 primary models with which everything is operating. If you go back to your 4 years of engineering, some of you, and you actually lay down all your models, you will find that. You go back to psychology, you will find the same thing. If you go back to architecture, you will find that there are, architecture has many more models for some other reasons altogether. All your interpretive power that you are talking about is your ability to take these models, take this information and play with it. So your ability to use this, to interpret this, is what is called model analysis. Are you with me? It is fundamentally adaptive in nature. You must understand that our educational system is built on scaling a set of models at high speeds across society. That is the core Western model. Only thing they are doing slowly and inefficiently. In my view, it can be done at 10 times the speed if you wish. Can you see this? This is all that is actually analysis. The ability to understand these models and to apply. Of course, you can have expertise. What is the role of expertise? Expertise, then you come out with variations of that model. You come out with adaptations of that model. You come out with contextualizations of that model. Then you come out with ways in which two models work together dynamically and work together so that you use them in a very effective way. So there is an infinite play space at every level. If you take, for example, organs of knowledge and empirical data itself, there is such a body of play space there. Now I am again going back. If you take, for example, archaeology, for example, just collecting data is such an extraordinarily difficult task. Just being able to remove a pot out of somewhere middle of nowhere when you are doing an excavation without losing anything, without breaking a potential piece of data, is itself a great science. Is it not? To be able to perceive that this is a piece of data and this is a piece of stone itself requires great insight sometimes. So if you look at it, similarly if you take modern medicine for example, the ability to collect data itself is a huge thing. Because that is nothing but that is called diagnosis at one level. The ability to actually do that. And so much of Western advances over the last 100 years have been about coming out with more and more sophisticated methods of collecting data. Whether you talk about, whether you start with MRIs, whether you talk about sophisticated echocardiograms and this and that, they are finding faster and better ways of actually collecting data. So there is enormous scope in each level. I want to please help you. I want you to see that I am not trying to deny the importance or value of any space. I am just trying to show you how to scope it.